Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I've got my winning list from the last event I went to in Reliquary Gaming right outside of Chicago. There was 12 people there. It was really awesome meeting everybody. But this is a sorcerer bigger aggro. I feel like a lot of sorcerer aggro right now is all the charge minions. You got red caps and Sarkhan Raiders and Chosen Cavalries and Monstrous Lion, and you're playing a lot of 3/3 charge minions, either for 3 or 4. You're also playing a lot of war horses and 2 power things, like with kobolds and violence. Uh, but this is a little bit of a bigger list. It's still very aggressive. It's still got some charge minions. It still has hippogriffs, monster lion, and uh, it has violence, but it doesn't have warhorse or kobolds or precision cavalry or Sarkhan raiders. The 4 mana 3/3 charge. It's not playing those. It's cut. I cut those out and put in some bigger stuff. My goal here was to beat the aggressive lists that are playing 2/2s like Warhorse and the 3 power 4 mana charge minions. And I was hoping to win the trade battle because this list has a lot more 4 power stuff. Like with Monstrous Lion is still a charge minion, but it's also playing Vampire, which is a 4 mana 4 power minion that can still gain life and like really save and stabilize easily against that kind of deck. I'm still playing Violence for like Desert +2 can deal with a 3/3. I'm playing Eremos Mercenaries thanks to Kyle. So these games here, there are 2 games against Alex West. These were both really good games. I end up winning the first one and losing the second one, just as a good example of like what can happen with the kind of deck. So here on turn, what is this, turn 4, I have 5 mana, and I can Hippogriffs with Trinket to start the pressure. This deck doesn't start pressuring the opponent until turn 3 at the earliest, or turn 4 usually. Turn 3 is usually playing a 3/3 or trying to set up a defensive turn. Like going against aggressive charge minions, they're usually attacking on 3 or 2. So it takes this deck an extra turn to be aggressive, but in that turn you get to play bigger stuff and you can win the longer game. Alex is playing a druid, I would say a mid-range list, but he's also got Cathera Mechanism, and I think in this game you'll see a 13 treasures. So 13 treasures and Mechanism is really strong, and he's also playing a spirits package with the evil presence. So here he attacks for 5. I've already kind of like gone in and don't have a blocker for that site, but I get really lucky with a smokestacks and turning off any defensive site, in this case Free City. In this list there's 2 Rift Valleys, and at the end of these games I'm going to put a section about talking about the deck and so why I chose some cards. So smokestacks is a huge like card against defensive sites, and so attacking with red hippogriffs and violent just to push pressure, that headless hunt that I infiltrated is going to go wherever Alex wants it, but I just don't want to get hit for 4 every turn. So 1 infiltrate to deal with his 1 card is a great trade in my book. So Alex here's the 13 treasures. It does something really cool here. So Tawny will pick it up. He will draw a card off of Tawny picking it up. It will teleport to a random location that he gets to choose thanks to the mechanism. Tawny will attack, violent, die. Druid will play a land, get Tawny. Druid will pick up the 13 treasures, and then treasures will teleport to another location. But since he already played a site, Tawny will be there to pick it up again, but it's a different Tawny. So in this one turn, he got to draw 3 cards off of like the 2 card combo. and it's something a little interesting here we talk about. So since Tawny picks it up, it's going to teleport. Even if it teleports into the same location, it's still not to Tawny's hand. So he ends up, I think, putting it into the void just so I can't like blink my imp over there and pick it up or something. But just little intricacies like that. And this is the first time I got to see 13 treasures and mechanism go off. So that was really cool. So 3 cards for the price of 2. Seems pretty good. My positioning here with Hippogriffs and Violent is not too great. They're nearby each other, so in any general game, it's a pretty standard piece of advice to like stay as far apart as possible to avoid earthquake and things. I get kind of blown out, but I don't see it really coming. Like my Hippogriff should have attacked the Dark Tower just to stay at one step away further, but I think I set up a pretty good aggressive minion site or minion basis here, attacking for 5 there. And then I have a stealth Morgan Le Fay, and I have 2 mana left over to play a Highland Princess to go get the ring. And so if he has some way to remove stealth, I still have a blocker. I have a stealth attack for next turn. I'm feeling pretty confident about my current setup, but Alex gets really lucky here, and it stabilizes him for a couple turns, and we'll see how it goes. But these games against Alex were great. I think this is our 3rd and final game. The second game I'll be showing you was our second game, and then we played one before that where I hit Control Z to undo something, and the whole game started throwing errors, and it was a visual disaster. But so here he plays 2 trinkets on Tawny. I'm like, okay, so I can still block with my Highland Princess. But then he plays a Merlin's Tower to gain an extra 3 mana. So he has 5, 6, 7 mana right now, and has Whirling Blades to get around stealth, and then to hit my Violimp, and then to attack my Hippogriffs, all to kill Tawny and clear my board. Just to kill Tawny was to get it back to do the 13 treasures thing. Tawny is really powerful, and when you can reposition it with just playing lands. And then so he still has 2 mana left over to play Evil Presence. So that was just a huge turn out of nowhere from Alex. So that was really cool. Here now I'm thinking, all right, I have the trinket, I have the ring, I need to get my sorcerer up there to maybe start pinging something. Highland Princess is gonna have to get into the fray of things with the trinkets. So here I get kind of lucky with a blink to move up. The other thing I could have done with this is blink my Highland Princess, or move my Highland Princess up, and then blinked over to the 13 treasures and picked up treasures, but then he would have gotten control of the treasures again, so that probably wasn't the best line. I like this one here. It gets me 1 step closer to the Druid for ring shenanigans, and then ping him for 1. So it takes him down to 4. And so I have him on Death's Door next turn if he doesn't do anything. So this is a really good spot to be. And then the Lion here isn't a kill spell, it's a removal spell. If he plays a Haunt to block, if he flips Druid or something, but it's a 4 mana removal spell in my mind. Or in this case, it removes the Headless Haunt efficiently. Maybe not efficiently, but effectively, and gets out of the Evil Presence. And so that Evil Presence should have bounced as well, but he's going to have enough mana to replay it, so it doesn't really affect anything. Here he flips into Bruin. Bruin will take any damage from your avatar while it's still alive, and I believe it's not a May, so if I can deal 4 damage to him, he has to give it all to Bruin. So here I get, again with Boudica, is a huge swingy card, so he's forced to block this attack, and he's flipped Druid, so I have to play the trinket. I get all the mana just works out perfectly in this this turn sequence. Play Boudica, force him to block with Bruin to just get him out of the way, so I can attack with my sorcerer to deal 4. And since attacking a site is life loss and not damage, it doesn't trigger Bruin. So I get him to 4. I spent all my mana this turn off the Boudica and the Trinket, but I got him to door. And next turn, I can just try to figure out a way to deal with Bruin, like with Montrose Lion or something like that. Here I should have blocked this. I don't know why I didn't block this. Boudica's done. I'm got him the door. It's already all the way back here, so I should have blocked that. But here he has a very sneaky play of double Trinket, which I knew about, but then he had a grapple shot. So that's 6 damage. I go down to 4, and then he can attack with Haunt. So should have blocked. But I think I have kill next turn, so I'm not too worried. Next turn is a very interesting one. I draw a spell. I don't think it ends up mattering, but I'll let it play out here. And then this next turn is another turn where the mana was absolutely perfect. So getting to 5 mana with this deck is very important. And then getting to 6 mana very slowly is very important. Very slowly is the key there. You don't want to try to rush to 6. You want to get to 4 and 5 pretty efficiently. But then 6 is like you can double spell really easily. Here I attacked with Monstrous Lion to kill Bruin, which was the plan originally in the first turn. And then Ring, so I have then 1 mana left, and then Trinket to kill him with the Ring. That was just the perfect turn there. This is game 2, and here I mulligan away the Phoenix because I know he's not on a fire build. I keep Trinket so my 3/3s can trade into his 4/4s, and I get kind of unlucky with a Infernal Legion early. I really don't like seeing Infernal Legion in my opener, just because it's like kind of a dead card. I want to see 3 mana and 4 mana things so I can like play my curve nice and efficiently. Yeah. I draw a sight there because I've now fallen into the trap that I tend to fall into of, oh, I got to get to 6 for my Infernal Legion. No. Infernal Legion is a dead card. Infernal Legion needs to be discarded to Eremos Mercenaries at the very least. So I should have drawn a spell. And then this turn I should have played like Vile Imp just to get it out of my hand. And then so if I had drawn a spell the first turn instead of a sight, I would play my 3rd sight and then play whatever other 3-drop or other card I could have. And then played Eremos Mercenaries as my second spell, but as an alternative casting cost. And maybe discarded my dead card of Infernal Legion. And here I draw another sight. Why did I draw so many sights? Oh, that's right, because I was sucked into Infernal Legion. So this is my piloting of the deck that was like, don't do this. So here I thinking about a little bit. This Evil Presence is like, oh great, he's gonna have a charge minion next turn. And so I'm like, I need 2 minions. And Violent, just take care of Tawny. It's not great value, but it's value. And then alternatively cast the Mercenaries. And I get unlucky, it takes a sight, so then I need to draw another sight to get to 6 for Infernal Legion, or is in this case with a tower 5. But I think then now I'm getting in my own head of like, well, now I need more and more sight, and it's just like, don't get sucked in onto the 6-drop. It's a dead card. This game I also get very lucky again with the smokestacks. Here he plays bridge in front of my smokestacks, which I think is the best play, because if he hadn't, I could have then played on site 9 and like got into his defensive line. I know bridge there gets turned off by smokestacks and it feels bad, but I think it's the proper play, because then now you have a defensive line and I can't like just come in and start attacking everything. Here he chooses to attack my Vile Imp, which was like, red alert, there's something going on here. So I have a hard time. Like I should probably trade my mercenaries into it just so it's like even and there's no shenanigans. I ended up double blocking and putting the choice on him, so he can kill one or the other essentially. But if he kills the imp, maybe if I was him, I would have killed the imp and then yeah, I would have killed the imp with the phase assassin. But either way, it's just a bad trade for me because he has that charge minion. And then this positioning. I'm in line with his avatar. I don't think it would have mattered too much in this scenario because Tawny is a spellcaster and can go wherever she wants. So like if I played my vampire left one onto my tower and avoided that arcane barrage, it wouldn't have mattered because he could have just tawnied and attacked smokestacks and moved over to one and shot him. But this just a tiny positional change would have been better, but it would have all worked out the same. But again, positioning does matter. Do not be in line with your enemy's avatar if not necessary. So had a Haunt was supposed to roll first, ended up on the free city, and then was able to redo everything that seemed fine. Here, the trinket shows that it's pretty good with the 3/3s, so I can trade into his Haunt. Here, I get another tower, which is not great because I'm stuck on 2 threshold. Even if I play this, go to 5 and 6 mana, I can't play my Infernal Legion, so I'm forced to draw spells. It was just a very awkward game, and getting sucked in on the Infernal Legion was not a good choice. And like here, I could have drawn a second spell, but I still needed to develop my site base. It's just yeah, I got sucked in on Infernal Legion. Don't do that, Bruce. Don't do that. But this is where I think the game probably got away from me. Probably honestly, turn 4 when or turn 3, turn 4 when he was able to play the charge Haunt and clear my board. I thought the Vile Imp and Mercenaries was like a really good play to have, just to have a double minion turn, but he was able to deal with it and then was just never able to stabilize because of this freaking Infernal Legion in my hand. Get a blink, not really what I want to see. I want to see minions, so then I can tap and draw a site because now I'm like, I gotta play this fucking Infernal Legion. Airmost Mercenaries just for a chump block. And it's just like, I don't think I really have any good outs. Maybe a one-off Poison Nova would be good. But then Poison Nova, like, you can kind of run into killing your own stuff. I don't have a whole lot of spellcasters, so I don't know. Maybe Poison Nova might be good, but this also shows the power of 4/4s against 3/3s. This is the exact scenario where I want to be on his side. I want to have my 4/4s playing into my opponent's aggressive 3/3s. Makes blocking impossible, makes trades unfavorable. I'm forced to chump block. Yeah, but kind of is what it is. He blinks his Haunt just to draw a card. Or he blinks himself. He blinks himself to move up, which is, I think, a really good play. Then he can flip into Druid, or flip Druid into Bruin, and have another minion for me to deal with, which I have no way of dealing with currently. Yeah, and then another Phase Assassin. So my plan here, I'm gonna play Infernal Legion on myself, I think, because four life and 1 life is essentially the same, because 4 life and 1 life still takes a turn to get me to the door. So playing it on myself is aggressive. It pressures a little bit more. It also clears the phase assassin, gets the stealth attacker out of here. I'm still going to go to door with vampire, even if I had played it on watchtower to or something like that to like block vampire. I had no way to block vampire and get rid of phase assassin, so I was at door no matter what. So there I go to door. Infernal Legion blocks Bruin from moving onto my location. And then he plays, I think, a sight to 16. Yeah, gets Tawny back. So now there are at least 3 attackers incoming next turn. And now with Recurring Spectre down there on Color Out of Space, it forces me to move, like, which way? I think I move on to Oasis, but like I should have moved to Tower. That would have been even safer. Yeah, I should have moved to Tower. So then I was like, I can have a blocker. Infernal Legion's gonna attack Bruin just to clear that out. Deal 3 to him. Yeah, I could have been on Tower, cleared out Tawny, put up a blocker with Hippogriffs. But I think I was still dead, no matter what. I'm at door, he's at 17, so like eventually he's going to find a way, but playing a tower would have been the more correct way. And here he gets even luckier with a good haunt roll. So he has a evil presence and another spirit. So I could have survived one more turn and used Shatter Strike with my Infernal Legion, and so that would have been 6, 12, plus 3, 15. I could have gotten to almost a door, but I would have to block the charged spirit, and then he probably had another out at some point, but I should have moved over one turn once to Tower, but oh well. That was a good game to Alex, so. All right, in the deck, I wanted to talk at least a little bit about the deck after the games there. So the main idea around this one was aggro felt very, like all the charge minions felt really strong, but like Patrols and Cavalry and Warhorse and Kobolds, like all the really low-end charge aggressive minions just feel like they don't have the punching power that you really need to do to like door Archmagio in a turn, or have those really big explosive turns. Charge minion, charge aggro felt very death by 1,000 cuts, and so healing just kills it. General control does pretty well. Like some defensive sights do really well. If you can slow them down for a turn or two, they just kind of run out of steam, and you can get your bigger stuff out. So with this, I was hoping to do a little bit of the charged aggressive minions, but be a little bit bigger, have more like power 4 creatures. So going into it, starting with Sorcery, it's right now I feel like it's one of the stronger avatars. Mr. Magoo is pretty good. I know people are working on Druid, but like those are the top 2 right now in my mind. So Mix Ignis, I think it's okay in Sorcerer because you have the card draw to make that card deficit not too bad. Stone and Ruby Core for some early ramp, so if you get a Stone or Core turn 1 or 2, you just bring your curve down 1, and it's really strong. Taurus Hammer Trinket for the 3/3s to trade into their 3/3s a little bit easier. So this was designed to beat aggressive minions, but also to have that big explosive turn for Mr. Magoo and things of that nature. And then Rigor Morgan is just busted, so here it is. I'm going on a minions. Princess, go get the ring. Also, a chump blocker is really good. Violet Imps are huge, still huge value. Plus a desert, this thing can kill a 2-drop. Emerald's Mercenaries is the same line of thinking as a Ignis, but not so dead mid to late game. Turn 3, cast a True Drop or another 3/3, and then Amorous Mercenaries for another one. You've given your... This is a minion with a Mixed Ignis stapled onto it. Kaliki Dragonets is a great finisher with that 1 damage ping. It's also just a 3/3 for 3. It's just really on rate minion. Morgan Le Fay, you can't do better card draw. And even with Sorcerer, like that extra 3 on turn 5 or 6 can just really change the tempo. Redcap Poweries, this is a 3/3, but the charge makes it so good. Whereas like Patrols and Cavalry is a 4 for 3 without a downside technically, but you're paying above mana rate for power. This is even. And really, Redcap having to attack is not a downside. You want to be doing that. It does add some like weird situations with like Quagmire. It does get killed with a Quagmire, so that doesn't feel great. But then if you've already attacked with it, you've already gotten value out of it. I will have to say Pebble's Path is the card you don't want to see against Redcap, because if you play Redcap into Pebble's Path, you can't play it, just dies at the end of your turn. Boudica is here for that big swing turn against Mr. Magoo. You want to have at least like 2 minions or have your avatar in a place to attack, and so you're able to swing for 6+ extra damage. Boudica is what really enables that big explosive turn of 15+ damage. You got your Hippogriffs. I like these more than Patrols and Cavalry or the Sarkhan Raiders, just because the Airborne is huge. Airborne is evasion. It can't be attacked by like a Headless Haunt or one of their three ground minions, so it sticks around a little bit harder. Monstrous Lion, I see this as 4/4, 4 mana, kill 4/4, which works in Sorcerer, especially when you have the card draw as Sorcerer. So when you're on turn 5 and 6, you just double draw spells, you throw Monstrous Lion into something, and then you play a Violent for extra. Or Monstrous Lion and a Highland Princess, they'll get their ring for next turn. It's just, Monstrous Lion is very strong and flexible. Sandworm is a great minion to ramp into, like with a core and a tower. Get a Sandworm on turn 2 is really strong. I haven't actually used Surveillon a whole lot, but it's fights as a 4/4 first strike, and then if you can get a Shatter Strike or Grapple Shot off, all the more powerful. Sir Lamorak is just a really annoying minion to deal with. They're obviously going to be trading a 3-power thing into it at least, or a 4/4, and even bigger things. This just trades into any big Earth minion effectively, or it creates really weird attacking and blocking scenarios. So Sir Lamorak is amazing. Ascalon Phoenix, I'm going to give all this credit to Kyle from Scourge Altars or Sorceable. This thing is nuts compared into Red Aggro, where they're playing Firebolt, and this gets around Poison Nova, because this is a replacement effect. So this doesn't actually take any damage from Poison Nova, so it doesn't get killed by Poison Nova. Ascalon Phoenix, I thought it was like 5 mana for a 4/4 flyer. Wouldn't I rather play the Manticore? But no, this is going into aggro specifically. This is great. And this is kind of the same idea with Dapper Vampire. Dapper Vampire heals you, which is huge. You can play it on 4 with the tower, so that's like you're paying on turn 4 for a 4/4, so it's kind of okay. And this blocks all their 3/3s profitably, and again, it heals you. So the best thing you can do against the 3/3 charge minions is just to heal once, because it negates a whole turn, and Dapper Vampire can heal and kill something, so Vampire is amazing. Infernal Legion, I used to have 2 of them in here, but I felt like the top end was a little too top-endy, so I put down to 1 Infernal Legion and 2 Phoenixes, just because after the event in Chicago, Phoenix was amazing. But Infernal Legion kills all their 3/3 minions, like with the charge stuff. So I feel like charge was really strong coming out of Arthurian Legends, but it's not unbeatable. You just got to play a little bit bigger stuff and trade profitably. And then, speaking a little bit bigger, Sir Palinor, this comes down, draws you a card, and trades into a thing. And if they want to get rid of it, they have to spend a card. So you've already killed one of their cards, and they're spending another one. So it's a 2-for-1, or it's actually it's a 2-for-0. Because if this one comes down and kills something, you've already replaced them. You're not down any cards. They're down a minion and the card they used to kill this. So Sir Palinor is great card advantage, and if it just comes down and hits for 5, it's a really good Highland Clansman. And I used to play Highland Clansman as a 1 of or 2 of in top ends in 40-20. So you'll notice here that I'm at 32 minions and only 11 magics, and there's a little more artifacts than I really like, but a heavy minion count, I'm liking 30 or more, just because every single turn you need to be playing a minion if you're a minion-based strategy. Blink is really strong, 2-mana draw a card and movement. Disenchant, you kind of have to have a disenchant in this kind of meta with Mr. Magoo's and stuff. And only 1 of, because if you're playing a longer game, you can usually get to 6 and 7 mana pretty reliably. And then, so after turn 6 or whatever, you're double drawing a sorcerer, and you can get down to like 35 cards in deck. And if it's a really grindy game, you can get it down to like mid-20s in your deck. So you're like burning through a lot of cards. So the chance of seeing a disenchant is pretty strong. A 1 of Lightning Bolt and Blaze. These are like kill spells in my head. Like if you have to spend them to do something or like gain some tempo, you can. But like mid to late game, you always want to hold the kill spell in hand. So when you get them to door, you have a way to finish the game. Feast for Crows is just a really strong card. It can tear apart people's hands, and paired with Lookouts, it's just play Lookout, grab the best thing out of your hand, and just really wreck your opponent's whole game plan for that turn. 1 of Infiltrate. I don't like playing 2 Infiltrates just because it's a little higher mana cost, and if you run into a Watchtower or something, it really hurts. So, but a 1 of, you play 1 Infiltrate and you steal a thing for a turn, or you just use it to steal a thing, trade into it. Like, it still is really strong. Shatter Strike. I came around on Shatter Strike. It's a grapple shot, which I have 2 of. So it's my 3rd grapple shot, but it also gets rid of artifacts, so it's like my 2nd disenchant. So I'm paying one extra mana to have access to 1 more grapple shot and 1 more disenchant. So a 1 of Shatter Strike is here. And then Whirling Blades is one of those, like, set up a really big turn and do a 15 plus damage. Also, Whirling Blades into red aggro or red aggressive charge stuff turns a 3/3 into trade profitably into two things. So Whirling Blades can be a board wipe as well. And put it on a vampire. Good luck to your opponent. And then some sites here. Towers and deserts are solid. Fields of Kalim. Red Charge likes to swarm the board and dump their hand really fast. So turn 4 or 5, play Fields and reset them back down to 1 and help you. Maybe you can rebuild. 3 Pyres for Death Speakers and Mr. Magoo's. Joyous Gennard. I have a couple more water sites than a lot of decks, just for my minions to be a little bit more sticky. Sandworm with Burrowing gets around Barry, and Phoenix and Vampire can be played into or attack a Bottomless Pit. So it gets around some defensive sites, but the water sites here are Barry protection. But these are all non-charge minions, so they need a turn to sit there. And getting around Barry is the biggest hurdle. 2 Rift Valleys. I got this from Roaring Turkey's Flamecaller, and I've really enjoyed it. The ability to rip apart defensive sites can win games.